The Generals of the Yang Family, Chapter 35.
Imagine you are like this elite military commander, right?
Right.
You've spent your entire life mastering the art of war. You've got the backing of the emperor. You command thousands of troops. And you've just pulled off, frankly, the heist of the century behind enemy lines.
A literal masterpiece of espionage.
Exactly. You outsmarted royalty. You sabotaged a mystical fortress. I mean, you are at the absolute peak of your career.
They're untouchable.
But then, on a seemingly simple errand like just gathering some supplies in the woods, you find yourself cornered at the bottom of a mountain, beaten to a pulp,
Wow.
and you are literally pawning your golden helmet to a teenage girl just so she'll let you escape with your life.
It's such a jarring shift.
Welcome to the deeply weird, fiercely pragmatic, and brutally unromantic world of ancient Chinese warfare.
Yeah, it is a phenomenal reality check for anyone expecting, a standard tale of invincible knights in shining armor.
Right, like the flawless hero trope.
Exactly. When you dive into these historical military epics,
Mm-hmm.
the concept of a clean, morally upright hero, it just evaporates almost immediately.
It totally does, and that is exactly why we are here today. If you haven't encountered the Yang family saga, it's basically the story of this fiercely loyal family of generals defending the Song dynasty against the northern Liao invaders.
But this specific chapter,
Yeah, this chapter we have in front of us today just throws all the rules out the window.
it really does. We're looking at a narrative that forces us to examine the mechanics of espionage, the terrifying reality of localized power dynamics, and honestly, the staggering psychological toll of total war.
Yeah, by the end of this discussion, the way you think about loyalty and the true cost of victory is going to be fundamentally challenged.
Absolutely.
I am so ready for this. But okay, let's set the stage, because we aren't starting on a battlefield. We're actually starting at a total military stalemate.
Right. Everything is at a standstill.
The Yang family forces are facing off against the Liao army, and the Liao have deployed something called the Qinglong, or Blue Dragon Formation.
And it's devastating.
The Yang forces are completely paralyzed by it. So before we even get into the heist plot, what exactly is a military formation in this context? Because I think, a modern listener hears formation and pictures, I don't know, a line of infantry.
Right. Or like a V shape of fighter jets.
Exactly. But this sounds like something entirely different.
That's a crucial distinction to make right away. In ancient Chinese military strategy, and especially in the sort of semi-mythical way it's portrayed in literature, a formation isn't just a physical arrangement of troops.
Okay.
It is this massive, shifting, almost architectural labyrinth made of soldiers, weapons, and environmental manipulation.
So it's like a structure.
Yeah, think of it as a deadly moving puzzle box deployed right on the battlefield.
Wow. So you can't just charge a cavalry unit straight into it.
Oh, definitely not. If you charge into it, the formation just swallows you whole.
Yeah.
The walls close in, the terrain shifts, and your forces are annihilated. And the Blue Dragon formation is particularly devastating because, well, it's powered by water.
Powered by water, so it's an elemental defense.
Exactly. Conventional frontal assaults are mathematically guaranteed to fail against it.
Right.
So the Yang family realizes that to break the formation on the battlefield, they first have to dismantle its power source from the shadows.
They have to get sneaky.
They do. They have to pivot from symmetrical warfare to pure asymmetrical sabotage.
Which brings us to the man with the plan, Dao Song.
The strategic mastermind.
Right. He's the main strategist for the Yang family, and he calls upon one of their most veteran generals, this guy named Meng Liang. But the mission he gives Meng Liang sounds absolutely unhinged.
It really does.
It's not, go assassinate the enemy general. It's this incredibly specific, bizarre checklist. What exactly is Dao Zong asking this elite general to do?
Well, it sounds like a scavenger hunt, honestly. But it is actually a surgical strike on the enemy's logistical and mystical infrastructure.
Okay, lay it out for us.
Dao Zong gives Meng Liang 3 objectives in the enemy capital city of Yuzhou. First, he needs to infiltrate the imperial garden and steal a specific white horse.
Steal a horse. Got it.
Second, while he's in that garden, he must locate the Nine-Eye Glazed Well, which is literally the water source powering that Blue Dragon formation.
Okay, the power source.
Right, and he has to plug the middle eye of the well with sand and stones.
Wait, pause right there. They are fighting a seemingly invincible magical water formation, and the brilliant tactical solution is to sneak in and throw dirt down a well.
Yep, throw dirt down a well.
That sounds almost insultingly simple. How does that work?
Because it operates on the foundational logic of Taoist five-element theory.
Oh, right. The elements.
Exactly. In this cosmological system, every element interacts with the others in a cycle of creation and destruction. Water is powerful, yes, but what conquers water? Earth, sand, and mud. You don't defeat a mystical water matrix with a bigger, flashier water spell. You defeat it with the fundamental elemental countermeasure.
You literally clog the mystical plumbing.
You do. It's
Yeah.
intensely pragmatic.
Okay, I actually love that. It's magic, but it has rules, like engineering.
Very strict rules.
So we have the horse, we have the well. What's the third objective?
The third is the most difficult by far. The commander of the Yang forces, the sixth brother, has been afflicted with this magical illness that is slowly killing him.
Oh, no.
And Taoist Zong tells Meng Liang that the only cure is a highly specific biological component.
Which is?
Hair from the Empress of the Liao forces, the enemy ruler herself.
Wait, so Meng Liang has to sneak into the most heavily fortified city in the north, steal the ruler's horse, sabotage the municipal water supply, and somehow give the enemy empress a haircut without her noticing.
That is the mission, yes.
That is suicide mission.
Oh, absolutely.
And he knows it, right, which is why he plans to go completely alone.
That is the plan. Stealth requires a small footprint, you know.
Mm.
But human dynamics immediately complicate this flawless military strategy.
Because of Zhao Zan.
Right. Another Yang family general, Zhao Zan, finds out about the mission, and he just flat out refuses to let Meng Liang go alone.
He insists on coming along to protect him, which is literally the last thing you want on a stealth mission.
The absolute last thing.
You don't bring your loud, aggressively loyal best friend when you're trying to slip past palace guards.
No, you do not.
It's such a fascinating detail because it shows that, you know, even in this highly disciplined army, you still have the friction of human relationships.
Exactly. Meng Liang is forced to compromise his own operational security just to manage his ally.
It's like a buddy cop movie where one guy's trying to be a ninja and the other guy's just stomping around.
And Meng Liang actually has to stash Zhao Zan at a hidden inn within the enemy city. He basically tells him, look, stay here, do not move, do not blow my cover.
While I go do the actual infiltrating.
Right. It really highlights how the unpredictability of human emotion is often a greater threat to a plan than the enemy's actual defenses.
Okay, so let's talk about that infiltration. Because Meng Liang doesn't just, you know, put on a black ninja suit and climb a wall.
No, he goes for social camouflage.
Right, he puts on a disguise and targets a very specific house in the city, the mansion of the prince consort.
Which is a brilliant move.
And for you listening, this is where the loyalties in this text get incredibly tangled. Who exactly is this prince consort?
The prince consort of the enemy Liao nation is actually the fourth brother of the Yang family.
Plot twist.
Right. Years prior, during this disastrous battle, he was captured by the Liao. But instead of executing him, the Liao recognized his value and essentially assimilated him.
They married him into the royal family.
Exactly. They married him to their own Princess Guiying. So now you have this man living at the absolute highest echelon of the enemy government.
Married to the enemy princess.
Yes. But he secretly maintains his blood loyalty to his original family, the Yangs.
He is the ultimate sleeper agent.
He really is.
So, Meng Liang sneaks into his mansion, disguised as a barbarian, pulls him aside, and essentially says, hey man, we need a massive favor. Your brother is dying, and the only cure is the hair of your mother-in-law, the enemy empress.
Which is just an impossible ask.
How does the fourth brother even approach that? I mean, he can't just walk up to the empress and ask for a lock of hair for old time's sake.
No, he cannot rely on his own influence, because doing so would immediately compromise his dub cover.
Right, they'd get suspicious instantly.
So he executes a flawless, frankly chilling, maneuver of social engineering.
Chilling is the right word.
He realizes that the strongest weapon he has isn't his sword or his rank, but the genuine emotional vulnerability of his Liao wife, Princess Guiying.
This psychological manipulation here is intense. Walk us through exactly what he does to her.
So, in the middle of the night, the fourth brother suddenly fakes a violently agonizing stomachache.
Just out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. He throws himself on the floor, he's writhing, groaning, putting on this performance of a man on the absolute brink of death.
And his wife, the princess, is terrified.
She completely buys it.
I mean, she loves him. She's frantically trying to figure out what to do to save him.
Exactly. He creates an artificial crisis.
Yeah.
And when people are in a state of sudden, overwhelming panic, their critical thinking skills, they just bypass normal security protocols.
They're just looking for a lifeline.
Right. The princess is desperate. She begs him for a solution, and he plays the scene perfectly. He gasps out that this is an old battle wound, and the only thing that can cure it is something called dragon beard ashes.
Dragon beard ashes.
Yes, but alas, he says such a rare medicine doesn't exist here in the north.
Oh, that's so manipulative. He plants the seed of an impossible cure, letting her feel the absolute despair of losing him before casually tossing out the actual lifeline.
Yes, he whispers that perhaps, just perhaps, as a substitute, the dragon hair of the Empress herself might possess enough vital energy to save his life.
Wow, and it works.
It works perfectly.
The princess, completely driven by her love for him, runs to the Empress, her mother. She explains this dire situation, and the Empress, moved by her daughter's tears and valuing her son-in-law, actually takes a blade and cuts her own hair off.
She hands it right over.
She hands it over. The fourth brother then burns a tiny piece of it, drinks the ashes in water, and miraculously recovers from his fake illness.
A medical marvel.
And then he quietly hands the rest of the hair to Meng Liang out in the shadows.
It is a profound example of exploiting an insider threat.
Yeah, the ultimate insider threat.
I mean, the Liao military had walls, guards, passwords to keep the Yang family out, but they had absolutely no defense against the internal emotional bonds of their own royal family.
None at all.
The fourth brother weaponizes his wife's love to extract a biological security asset from the head of state.
Is it brilliant tactically? Absolutely. Yeah. But from a human perspective, it is incredibly dark. Like, he is looking into the eyes of a woman who loves him so much, she is willing to beg the Empress for a miracle, and he is using that pure devotion to steal from her family.
To aid the army actively trying to destroy her nation.
Yes. It really forces you to ask, what does loyalty even mean in this universe?
That is the central tension of the text. To a modern reader, his actions seem like a horrific betrayal of trust. An HR nightmare, really.
The worst.
But within the ethical framework of this epic, his actions are justified. They're even heroic.
Really? Heroic?
Yes, the text is making a definitive statement. Loyalty to the state and your bloodline absolutely supersedes any personal relationships, even the sacred bond of marriage.
Wow. So the new family is ultimately expendable in service to the original family.
A brutal reality, but yes.
Okay, so Meng Liang secures the hair, but he still has two more objectives. He has to sabotage the well and steal the horse. Does he use the same kind of emotional manipulation to get those?
For the garden and the well, he relies on pure stealth.
Okay, classic espionage.
Right. He slips in, finds the Nana glazed well, and carefully packs the middle eye with the sand and mud he brought.
Physically severing the mystical conduit of the enemy's water formation.
Exactly. But for the horse, he shifts tactics again. He doesn't pick a lock. He uses bureaucratic camouflage.
I love this part. He just walks right up to the imperial stables holding a forged document.
Bold as brass.
And he speaks perfectly fluent, unaccented barbarian language, which implies he spent years studying the enemy's culture for exactly this kind of moment.
The preparation is staggering.
And he just barks an order at the guards. He's like, the Empress requires the specific white horse for a military drill immediately. Hand it over.
And why do the guards comply so easily?
Because they're terrified of upper management.
Precisely. Meng Liang understands how massive bureaucracies function. The guards see the official seal on the forged decree, they hear the tone of absolute authority in their native tongue, and their instinct is compliance, not suspicion.
They aren't looking for a single saboteur.
No, they are looking for an invading army.
So Meng Liang just takes the reins, rides calmly out of the imperial compound, clears the city gates, and is 50 miles down the road before anyone even realizes they've been robbed.
It's spectacular. He accomplishes the impossible.
So Meng Liang, Zhou Zhen, rides back to the Song military camp with the horse, the hair, and the knowledge that the well is plugged. The heist is over.
Mission accomplished.
But bringing these items back doesn't end the war. It's actually the spark that ignites an even bigger powder keg. What happens when he hands this hair over to Zhao Song?
The narrative shifts gears massively here. The covert phase of the war ends, and the overt, nation-spanning mobilization begins.
Okay.
Zhao Song takes the Empress's hair, prepares a single dose of medicine, and feeds it to the ailing commander, the sixth brother.
Imagine.
The magical illness is instantly cured. The commander is back in action.
And the emperor of the Song dynasty, Emperor Zhenzong, is absolutely thrilled. He sees that Taoist Song's bizarre methods actually work.
The results speak for themselves.
Right. And he decides he wants to reward the Taoist, doesn't he? He offers him gold, official titles, a permanent place in the imperial court. He wants to integrate this brilliant strategist into the state apparatus.
Which is the standard operating procedure for any empire. You find talent, you buy it, and you control it.
Standard corporate acquisition.
Exactly. But Taoist Zhang refuses.
He turns down the emperor.
He does. He tells the emperor, I have the nature of a deer.
The nature of a deer? What does that actually mean in this context? Because it sounds very poetic.
It's a deeply evocative philosophical trope. A deer belongs to the wild, untamed forest.
Okay.
It cannot be put in a harness without breaking its spirit. By claiming the nature of a deer, Taoist Zhang is explicitly rejecting the artificial hierarchies of human society.
He's saying keep your titles and your gold.
Right. He is saying that wealth and political status mean nothing to him. His authority and his power come from understanding the natural cosmic order, not from an imperial paycheck.
He only wants to break the enemy formation, and then he intends to disappear back into the mountains.
That's his stated goal.
But the emperor's response to this rejection is what really fascinates me. Because the Taoist says, I don't want to be your official, and the emperor's reaction isn't anger. It's essentially, great, because you don't want the power, I'm going to give you all of it.
It's a massive paradox.
He makes Taoist Zhang the chief military strategist and grants him absolute, unquestioned dictatorial control over the entire army. He literally tells him, you don't even need to ask my permission or report back to me.
Let's examine the terrifying political implications of that.
Please do.
In any ancient bureaucratic empire, a military general is kept on a very short leash. The capital is always terrified that a successful general will use their army to march back and usurp the throne.
Right, a military coup is always a Tuesday away.
Exactly. To give a commander total field authority without oversight is a massive, massive risk.
So why do it?
The emperor does it here precisely because of the Taoists' refusal of wealth.
Right.
The logic is, a man who cannot be bribed and who desires no worldly status is the only man who can truly be trusted with absolute power.
It's the archetype of the reluctant leader. The guy who doesn't want the ring of power is the only one who should carry it.
Exactly like that.
And once Taoist Zhang has this absolute power, he doesn't just sit around meditating.
Oh, no.
He immediately starts moving pieces across the board. He mobilizes everyone. He sends generals across the country to fetch retired veterans, legendary fighters, even the female matriarchs of the Yang family. He is building an all-star team for one final apocalyptic clash.
He is treating the entire nation as a resource pool.
Yes.
And he identifies one specific individual whose presence is absolutely mandatory if they are to win.
Who is it?
The fifth brother.
Okay, and this brings us back to Meng Liang. Taoist Zhang looks at Meng Liang, who, keep in mind, just got back from his suicide mission in Yusu.
Sweating bullets, probably.
Yeah, and the Taoist says, great job, now I need you to go to Wutai Mountain.
No rest for the weary.
Now, the fifth brother is a very unique character because he used to be a ferocious Yang family general, but he walked away from it all. He took vows and became a Buddhist monk.
He successfully removed himself from the cycle of violence and karma that defines the military world.
So when Meng Liang arrives at the monastery and demands that he return to the army to fight, the fifth brother gives the expected answer, right?
Right. He says, no, I'm a monk. The affairs of the state are no longer my concern.
But he doesn't just leave it at no, which is the crazy part. He gives Meng Liang a loophole.
A very specific loophole.
He says, I will not fight unless you bring me a very specific item. And this item isn't just a generic sword. The fifth brother demands the left piece of the dragon-taming wood, which happens to grow by the back door of a remote place called Muke Fort.
That's incredibly specific.
He says he needs this exact piece of wood to carve a new handle for his battle axe. If he gets the wood, he fights. If he doesn't, he stays a monk.
It is a highly specific, almost bewildering condition.
It really is. I mean, put yourself in Meng Liang's shoes. You have a Taoist who rejects the world but accepts a military dictatorship. Now you have a Buddhist pacifist who says, I won't commit murder, but if you fetch me this bespoke artisanal lumber from across the country, I'll totally come chop some heads off.
It feels like a legal technicality.
Exactly. Why does the monk specifically need wood to break his vows?
Well, it is exactly a karmic technicality.
Real?
Yes, we have to look at the spiritual mechanics operating beneath the narrative. A Buddhist monk who engages in warfare is committing a grave spiritual offense.
Obviously.
But the dragon-taming wood isn't just lumber. It possesses an intrinsic elemental property designed to subdue the dragons, which is the symbolic representation of the enemy generals.
Oh, I see.
By demanding this specific mystical object, the monk is shifting the spiritual burden.
So it's not his fault if he fights.
Exactly. The wood itself becomes the instrument of destiny, pulling him back into the worldly realm. It provides the necessary spiritual justification to pause his asceticism. He isn't fighting for vengeance or politics. He is wielding a destined artifact to restore cosmic balance.
Okay, that makes it so much more than just a fetch quest. It's a spiritual tether.
It is.
And honestly, Meng Ling probably thinks, hey, I just robbed the Emperor of Liao blind. Going to a random fort to chop down a tree is going to be a vacation.
He severely miscalculates.
Massively. And this brings us to one of the most disruptive and fascinating sequences in the entire story, because Meng Liang heads toward Mook Fort, and he is about to run face first into a character who completely shatters the established power hierarchy of this universe.
We are, of course, talking about Guiying.
Yes. Meng Liang arrives near Mook Fort, and we are introduced to the local leader's daughter, Guiying. And the text wastes no time establishing her credentials.
Not at all.
She isn't just a good fighter. She is a terrifying force of nature. She possesses overwhelming physical strength, unmatched archery skills, and she carries 3 magical flying daggers that literally never miss their target.
She represents an entirely different kind of authority in this text.
How so?
Well, thus far, we've seen imperial authority, the emperor, the generals. We've seen spiritual authority, the Taoist, the monk.
Right.
Guiying embodies raw, localized, independent martial power. She doesn't answer to the Song dynasty, and she certainly doesn't care about their war. She rules her mountain because she is strong enough to hold it, period.
She's an independent warlord,
Yeah.
and the way she and Meng Liang meet is almost comically petty considering the national stakes.
It really is.
Guiying is out hunting with her retainers. She shoots a bird out of the sky. The bird happens to fall right in the path of Meng Liang, who is just walking by. Now, if you are Meng Liang and you are on a ticking clock mission to save the entire nation, what do?
You step over the bird and keep walking.
You keep walking, but what does he actually do?
He picks up the bird and tries to conceal it.
Why?
And when Giying's subordinates approach him and demand that he return their master's kill, Meng Liang doesn't negotiate. He doesn't explain his urgent imperial business. He just physically beats the subordinates up.
It is such an arrogant move. Why on earth would a veteran commander act like a playground bully when he's supposed to be securing a vital resource?
Because Meng Liang is suffering from the institutional arrogance of the imperial center.
Ah, he thinks he's better than them.
Exactly. He is a high-ranking general of the legendary Yang family. In his mind, the entire country belongs to the emperor, and therefore, as the emperor's proxy, he has absolute dominion over whatever land he walks on.
He doesn't see borders.
He doesn't view Giying's people as a sovereign power. He views them as peasants. He assumes his status makes him untouchable.
Well, the illusion of his untouchability is shattered in about 5 minutes.
Very quickly.
Because the beaten subordinates run back and tell Guiying. She rides down to the foot of the mountain to confront him. She looks at this decorated imperial general, and she doesn't see a hero. She calls him a mad slave, an arrogant brute.
Which is a huge insult to a general.
Huge. And Meng Liang, true to form, refuses to talk it out. He draws his weapon, and they clash. And this is not a quick little skirmish, is it?
Not at all. The text is very specific. They fight intensely for 40 grueling rounds.
40 rounds of sustained combat at the foot of a mountain. Imagine the physical exhaustion. And as the fight drags on, Meng Liang has a horrifying realization.
He's losing.
He's losing. This hardened veteran who has fought in countless wars against the Liao realizes he cannot defeat this young woman from the mountains. His technique is failing, his strength is failing, and so he breaks off the engagement and turns to run away.
Which is a devastating psychological blow.
Absolutely crushing.
He is forced to abandon his pride and his mission just to survive.
But she doesn't even let him run away.
No, she doesn't.
Guiying doesn't chase him down to kill him. Instead, she calmly maneuvers to block the only road out of the valley. She traps him.
She cuts off his retreat.
And then she delivers one of the most humiliating ultimatums in military fiction. She tells him, you want to pass through my territory, you have to pay a road toll.
It is a brilliant insult.
Isn't it?
She is categorizing him not as an enemy combatant, but as a trespassing merchant.
Oh, that stings. And Meng Liang says, I don't have any money. To which she replies, then you can stay here for an entire year until the toll is paid.
She's completely indifferent to his national emergency.
Meng Liang is trapped. He knows the fate of the nation rests on him getting that wood to the monk. He cannot sit on this mountain for a year. So in an act of absolute desperation, what does he do?
He takes off his golden helmet and hands it to her as a pawn to pay the toll.
Oof. Let's really analyze the weight of that action. The golden helmet isn't just a piece of armor, is it?
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
In classical Chinese military culture, the golden helmet is the ultimate symbol of rank, imperial favor, and martial identity.
It's his badge of honor.
It is what distinguishes a general from a foot soldier. By forcing him to surrender it, Mu Guiying isn't just taking a shiny object.
Right.
She is symbolically decapitating his imperial authority. She is forcing him to publicly admit that on her mountain, the emperor's rank means nothing, and her martial superiority is absolute law.
It is the ultimate humbling. Think about the whiplash for this guy. This guy outsmarted the entire enemy government in Yuzhou. He played the Liao Empress like a fiddle.
He was a master spy.
But he wanders into the woods, gets into a fight over a dead bird, and gets so completely outclassed that he has to pawn his own hat just to walk away with his life. It's wild.
It is.
It reminds me of the anxiety a centralized government feels about local militias. The capital likes to think it controls everything, but out in the provinces, the local warlord is the one who actually dictates reality.
That is precisely the socio-political tension the author is highlighting here. The Song dynasty was historically very anxious about centralized military control.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mu Guiying represents the undeniable reality that localized, independent power can and will stall the imperial machine if it is not respected.
So Meng Liang has to do the walk of shame back to the military camp. He arrives helmetless, defeated, and empty-handed.
A total failure.
But the Taoists' war machine doesn't care about Meng Liang's bruised ego. They still desperately need that dragon-taming wood for the monk. If Meng Liang can't beat her, someone else has to try. And this brings us to an entirely different approach to the problem.
Right. We shift from an attempt at brute force to an attempt at leveraging imperial prestige.
Enter young Zongbao. Zongbao is the young, handsome, extremely confident son of the commander, the sixth brother.
He's the golden boy.
When he hears Meng Liang's story, he steps up. But he doesn't go alone like Meng Liang did. Zongbao rides to Muke Fort with a full detachment of troops.
A show of force.
He marches right up to the fort's gates, completely assured of his own importance. He demands the wood, and he tries a new tactic. He tells Mugir, "Give me the wood for the war effort, and when we win, I'll make sure the emperor rewards you handsomely."
Notice the strategy here.
Yeah, he's negotiating.
Zongbao is attempting to buy her compliance, using the promise of future state integration. He assumes that what a mountain leader truly wants is validation and wealth from the capital.
And how does Mu Guiying react to the promise of imperial favor?
She finds it amusing.
Of course she does.
She completely rejects his premise. She essentially tells him, I have the wood, but your promises are worthless here. If you want it, you must defeat me in combat.
Classic.
If you win, you can have both pieces of the wood. She forces the imperial army to interact with her purely on her terms.
She will not be bought.
That at all.
So Zongbao, who is highly trained, accepts the challenge. They clash. But unlike Meng Liang, who survived 40 rounds, Zongbao only lasts 30 rounds.
She handles him easily.
Mu Guiying tests him, sees his skill level, and then executes a textbook tactical maneuver. What does she do?
She executes a feigned retreat. She breaks off the fight and spurs her horse away, leading him around a bend in the mountain path. Zongbao, eager for glory and convinced he has the upper hand, pursues her aggressively.
The classic blunder. You never chase a retreating enemy into unknown terrain.
Exactly. And the moment he is isolated from his troops, she turns. But she doesn't aim one of her magical daggers at his chest.
What does she aim at?
She aims an arrow at his horse.
She shoots the horse right out from under him.
Yeah, and he goes.
The horse crashes, Zongbao hits the dirt hard, and before he can even recover his bearings, she spins her horse around and captures him alive.
Lawless execution.
Meng Liang and the other troops try to rush in and save him, but Mu Guiying's forces unleash a devastating barrage of arrows and rocks from the high ground. The imperial troops are forced to retreat to the bottom of the mountain and set up camp, completely impotent.
Her tactical brilliance here is multifaceted. She neutralizes the enemy commander's son without killing him, thereby securing the most valuable hostage possible. She demoralizes the imperial troops, and she maintains absolute control of the high ground.
So now Zongbao is dragged into her tent, bound in ropes, and to his credit, he tries to play the role of the stoic, tragic hero perfectly.
He leans into the trope.
He does. He looks at her and yells, "Don't bother torturing me. Just kill me quickly. I am a loyal soldier. I am not afraid to die for my country." He is fully prepared to be a martyr.
He is following the script of standard military honor. Capture means death, and a noble death ensures a glorious legacy.
But Guiying is completely rewriting the script.
As always.
She looks at this bound prisoner, and the text notes that she is struck by his youth, his remarkably handsome appearance, and his bold, unyielding spirit. She doesn't see a prisoner to be executed, and she doesn't see a hostage to be ransomed.
No, she sees an opportunity.
She decides right then and there that she wants to marry him.
It is a profound pivot that completely destabilizes Zongbao's understanding of the situation.
I mean, she literally has her subordinates walk over to the tied-up guy and ask, "Hey, the boss wants to know if you'll accept a marriage proposal."
It's hilarious.
Now, I want to focus intensely on Zongbao's reaction here, because a modern reader might expect a swooning romance, an enemies-to-lovers trope where he looks into her eyes and falls instantly in love. But that is not what happens in his internal monologue, is it?
Not at all. The text gives us access to his thought process, and it is a masterpiece of cold, pragmatic calculus.
Okay, break that down for us. What exactly is he calculating?
Zongbao is faced with this bizarre ultimatum, and he logically weighs his options. He thinks to himself, if I cling to my pride and refuse her, she will execute me. My death will serve no purpose, and my mission to retrieve the wood for the army will fail.
Logical.
However, if I accept her proposal, I survive. Furthermore, I will likely gain access to the dragon-taming wood. Most importantly, I will secure this overwhelmingly powerful warrior and her forces as an ally for the big plan of defeating the Liao invaders.
It is pure resource acquisition. There is no mention of his heart fluttering.
None.
He realizes that his martyrdom is strategically useless, but his marriage could turn the tide of a national war. So after a few moments of this internal math, he looks up and says, "Well, you spared my life and offered me marriage. How could I possibly refuse such a great blessing?"
And instantly, the tension dissolves.
Just like that. They untie him, they bring out wine, and they begin celebrating their engagement in the tent while his army sits nervously at the bottom of the mountain.
It is the most extreme hostage negotiation I have ever heard of.
But it works. In the short term, Zongbao seems to have achieved a masterstroke. He survived, he secured the wood, and he recruited the strongest fighter in the region. He traded his bachelorhood for national security. It's a very practical transaction.
It is practical from his localized perspective on the mountain, but Zongbao fails to anticipate how this transaction will be viewed by the rigid, uncompromising machinery of the imperial military court.
Oh, right, because his dad is down there.
And his dad is the commanding general.
And that oversight brings us to the final and most devastating section, because the military machine does not care about your localized diplomacy or your pragmatic marriage.
When personal pragmatism collides with absolute military law, the result is almost always catastrophic.
So Zongbao heads back down the mountain, leaving his new fiancée at the fort, and walks into the main imperial camp. He goes straight to his father, the sixth brother.
Who is already stressed out.
Oh, yeah. And Zongbao tells him everything. "Dad, I got captured, but I negotiated our way out. She didn't kill me. I agreed to marry her, and she's going to give us the wood and join our alliance."
So proud of himself.
Zongbao clearly thinks he is bringing home a massive diplomatic victory, but the sixth brother does not see it that way.
The sixth brother's reaction is explosive and immediate.
He loses his mind.
To him, Zongbao has not negotiated a victory, he has committed a capital offense.
Right. The sixth brother is livid. He screams at his son, "I am sitting here, unable to eat or sleep because the nation is on the brink of destruction, and you allowed yourself to be captured and then delayed a critical military mission because you were greedy for private love."
Private love, that's the key phrase.
The sixth brother doesn't see the tactical genius of the alliance. He only sees a soldier who prioritizes his own life and lust over the strict timeline of the state.
This is a vital moment for understanding ancient military philosophy.
Break it down for us.
In a highly disciplined army, the appearance of favoritism or the erosion of discipline is far more dangerous than losing a single battle. The sixth brother is the supreme commander. He cannot allow his own son to violate military protocols, which strictly forbid fraternization and unauthorized delays, without compromising his authority over the entire army.
So to maintain that absolute discipline, the sixth brother does the unthinkable.
He has to make an example.
He orders his guards to drag his own son out of the tent and execute him, behead him immediately for violating military law.
He is fully prepared to sacrifice his bloodline to maintain the integrity of the state's military apparatus.
The guards seize Zongbao. He is moments away from death. He survived the invincible mountain warrior, only to be executed by his own father.
It's tragic irony.
But before the axe can fall, the door of the tent flies open. And who steps in? The grandmother. Shi Taijun, the legendary matriarch of the Yang family.
Thank goodness for her.
And she injects a massive necessary dose of outcome-based reality into the room. What is her argument?
Taijun is the voice of ultimate strategic utility. She looks at the sixth brother and essentially tells him that his rigid adherence to the letter of the law is suicidal.
She talks some sense into him.
She argues, yes, he broke protocol, but look at the bigger picture. We're losing this war. We desperately need that dragon-taming wood, and more importantly, we desperately need Guiying's military strength on our side.
We need her army.
Right. If you execute Zongbao now, you permanently sever that alliance, you turn a powerful neutral party into an active enemy, and we will lose the war.
It's just bad math to kill him.
Exactly. The utility of keeping him alive outweighs the necessity of punishing his insubordination.
She is prioritizing the survival of the state over the purity of the rules, and her argument is unassailable.
The sixth brother has to concede.
He is forced to compromise. He calls off the execution, but he refuses to forgive the transgression entirely. He strips Zongbao of his command and throws him into the military prison to await judgment after the war.
Which, ironically, leaves the imperial army in the exact same predicament they started in.
Oh, you're right. They still don't have the wood, and the monk is still refusing to fight.
Exactly. The clock is ticking. The Liao army is waiting.
So Meng Liang sneaks into the military prison to visit Zongbao in his cell. And Zongbao, who is sitting in the dark because of this marriage, still believes in the alliance.
He's holding out hope.
He gives Meng Liang a new set of orders. He says, listen to me. Guiying is a true hero. She is stronger than any of us. We don't just need the wood anymore. We need her.
Zongbao is desperately trying to salvage the diplomatic route.
Right. He tells Meng Liang to go back up the mountain, explain to her what happened with my father, apologize, and convince her to bring the wood and join our forces.
He believes that rationality and mutual benefit can still prevail.
But sending Meng Liang, the guy who already tried to steal her bird and fought her for 40 rounds, as your chief diplomat, is a terrible idea.
The absolute worst choice for an envoy.
Right. Meng Liang heads back up to Mook Fort and gets an audience with Guiying. But the situation has already deteriorated.
Yes, significantly. From Guiying's perspective, she spared an enemy, offered him an alliance and her hand in marriage, let him return to his camp, and then silence.
Ghosted.
He never came back. She doesn't know he's rotting in a prison cell.
She just thinks he lied to her.
She believes she's been played for a fool by the imperial army.
So when Meng Liang walks in, she is furious. She doesn't want to hear his excuses. She delivers a blunt, aggressive threat. She tells him, you people lied to me. I am not giving you the wood. I am not joining your army.
The bridge is burned.
And if you bother my fort ever again, I will march my troops down that mountain and destroy your camp myself.
The diplomatic avenue is officially dead. She has drawn a line in the sand, and she has the military capability to back it up.
And this is where the text takes a turn that is so dark, so completely ruthless, that it genuinely shocks modern readers.
It is a massive escalation.
Meng Liang listens to her threat. He doesn't try to explain about Zongbao's imprisonment. He doesn't try to negotiate or offer collateral. He simply turns around, leaves her tent, and pretends to retreat down the mountain. But he doesn't go back to the Imperial camp.
No, he shifts his operational parameters.
To what?
If diplomacy and direct combat have failed, the only remaining option in his strategic playbook is unrestricted, total warfare.
It's terrifying. Meng Liang hides in the dense foliage outside the fort. He waits for hours until dusk falls, and as he waits, he notices the environment.
He observes the conditions.
It's September. The fierce, dry autumn winds are beginning to howl across the mountain passes, blowing directly toward the wooden structures of Mook Fort.
He recognizes an environmental weapon.
Yeah.
Just as Taoist Zong used earth to defeat the water formation earlier, Meng Liang realizes he can use the wind to amplify fire.
Under the cover of total darkness, Meng Liang creeps to the rear of the fort. Using those howling September winds, he ignites a massive fire.
And because of the wind, the fire instantly spirals completely out of control.
It isn't a distraction, it is an inferno. The flames sweep through the fort, the valley lights up a terrifying red, and thick smoke chokes the air. The people inside wake up to an absolute catastrophe.
It is a localized apocalypse.
Guiying and her soldiers are thrown into complete panic, abandoning their posts to desperately fight the flames and try to save their homes and families from burning alive.
And while they are fighting this desperate battle against the fire, Meng Liang uses the chaos to his advantage.
He sneaks right into the heart of the fort. But he doesn't just quietly slip past the distracted guards, grab the wood, and leave. The text explicitly tells us what he does next, and it is horrifying.
It's brutal.
As he moves through the smoke-filled courtyards, he actively slaughters the people he encounters. He murders half of Mu Guiying's family members and household servants in the confusion.
It is a breathtaking escalation of violence.
He massacres his own allies' in-laws. After leaving a trail of bodies, he finally locates the specific trees by the back door. He chops down both pieces of the dragon-taming wood, straps them to his back, and flees into the night.
He bypasses his own camp entirely.
Right. He runs straight to Wutai Mountain to deliver the wood to the monk.
It is a scene of profound devastation, and it is the climax of Ming Liang's mission.